Okay, so it's 7:15 Montreal time, so I guess we'll start.
Okay. I am going to be off camera. I am running a fever because of a toothache. I also have my colleague Marius joining us from France. He's going to man the questions and he will also help me in answering the questions. Thanks, Marius. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. So, my name is Bhavya. I work as a QA engineer for Kibana team at Elastic. And this is going to be our agenda for today. We're going to do an introduction to Elasticstack and its use cases. We are also going to go through how to set up the cloud trial. I think most of you got emails of how to do that. And then the topic of the presentation, Kibana. I will do a live demo of Kibana and hopefully the demo is going to go okay. And then we will try to get to your answers and questions. So we are a search company. We are publicly traded and we live and work out of 40 plus countries. We are distributed by design. Most of us work remotely and we were working remotely even before the pandemic. We do meet up face-to-face a couple of times a year. We are really missing it. Hopefully I think everybody is looking forward to meeting everybody in person. And even for those of you who don't know us, you have definitely come in contact with our product stack. If you use Uber, the marketplace where your ride matching happens, that search is powered by Elasticsearch. If you used Yelp to look up restaurants and ratings and restaurant opening timings, that is again powered by us. If you looked for articles in New York Times, you used a search. So Elastic is in a lot of customer-facing applications. All these use Elasticsearch. So that's why we call ourselves the search company. Elastic is also used for operational log security analytics. Imagine you're coming into work and one of your servers is down and you want immediate information on which server is down, or you discover that your application is having a DDoS attack and you want to isolate the threat, or you're looking for some internal document which you want to find and send it to a colleague or a boss. Our stack can be used for all these use cases because they're all search problems. We really believe that scale, speed, and relevance are foundational to many of our use cases, and we do our best to address them. So what makes up our stack? We have 4 main products. We have Elasticsearch, which is the heart of our stack. It is the storage, search, and analytics layer. We have Kibana, which is window into the Elastic stack. It's the UI layer, both for visualizing and exploring data in Elasticsearch. And you can also use it for managing your Elastic stack. Then we have Beats and Logstash. They make up the ingestion layer. Beats are lightweight data shippers that can sit on the edge of servers, and they can ship data into Elasticsearch. And Logstash is one of our oldest and most loved community plugin. It's a server-side extract, transform, load component, ETL component. It allows you to parse and enrich your data on the way to Elasticsearch. You can do a lot of things with it. It has a rich set of inputs and output plugins. So we figured out most of our customers are using our stack for 3 kinds of solutions. So we built 3 vertical solutions on top of our stack: search, observability, and security. When we do the Kibana analytics part, which is what I'll be taking you all through today, we will take a quick look at this. You can also deploy us wherever you want. We have SaaS, self-managed, on-prem distribution, or you can download it locally. Before we start with the cloud trial and before I get into Kibana, we need to briefly talk about Elasticsearch, which is, as I said, is the heart of a stack where you get the data into storage and you can analyze the data, and you can search. You can do relevance ranking for your search terms and all that. And Elasticsearch stores data as JSON documents, and each document has a unique ID. JSON is JavaScript object notation format. There is an example here. You have the group of key value pairs, and you just enclose them in curly brackets. If you want to convert a table of, you have ID, name, age, category, then ID would be, I would make a JSON document, and you say you have like six rows in that table. I would make a JSON document. I would have 6 JSON documents. ID would be my attribute ID, and the rest of the key value pair for age, for category, name, that would be enclosed within curly brackets. And the way Elasticsearch stores this is as a form of index. Index is basically a group of JSON documents. And we have 2 kinds of indexes. One is a static index, and another is a time series data. For example, we want a data set of all the albums Daft Punk made. I know it's very, very topical. I was really sad yesterday, but we can get the names of all the albums and that's it. That data set is not going to grow. It's fixed in size. Now, let's say you want to use this data and make friends with people who really love Daft Punk, and you want to build a tribute website, and you want to know how many clicks on which parts of websites you got, and you want to store the data. First day, it might be like 1,000 new friends came and clicked here. They loved this song. They went here. They looked up their history. Second day, another 1,000 friends came, and so on. This is a data set which is growing over time, and this is the time series data. So we talked about index as how Elasticsearch stores a bunch of documents. The documents in index share a data scheme. That's how we know we can have the common keys for them. And when you work with Kibana, you have to specify the Elasticsearch indices that contain the data you want to use. You'll do that by defining index patterns. And that's what we got here. So here we have a bunch of time series data, which is tweets. And I've ingested it using beats, logstash. We will also look at command line and CSV ingestion into Elasticsearch. We have tweets for like 2018, 12/30, 23rd, and 2018, 12/22, and then some other date. So that data is a time series bound data for days. And when you are going to refer to it in Kibana, you can refer to it as tweets -star, which means all this data, all the data for like the data for across these tweets is you can search and explore that data using tweets_star. We will see how it goes. And then we have cooking recipes, which is basically you are going to define it as cooking recipes, and that is a static data set, and that is not a time series data. So that's what. So the part of the presentation, which is what I'm going to be doing, is how we are going to visualize and explore the data which we are going to ingest. I don't think we are going to be looking at manage and monitor, or we are probably going to take a really brief look at solutions. Okay, now we are going to set up a cloud trial. So all you have to do is you have to go to your Kibana login. Sorry, go to your cloud.elastic.co login. And you're going to create deployment. And once you click on create deployment, the easiest one to get started with is Elastic Stack. And I think that's good enough for us. I'm not going to change anything here. It already pre-selected my cloud provider. And this is running on the latest version of the stack, which is 7.11.1. And I'm going to name my deployment as something. I'm going to say Kibana workshop. It's going to take a couple of minutes. I'm going to download the password. Almost there.
Perfect. I just wanted to say, if anyone has any questions, just feel free to unmute yourself.
Yes, please. Okay, I'm just going to give that a few minutes because I have a couple of them set up. So I'm going to open Kibana here. So this is once you set up Kibana, this is what you're going to get. Once you set up the
Great.
stack,
I
this is.
think we have a question.
Sure.
Someone raised a hand.
Yeah, thank you. I have a question. My teammate and I, we tried using Kibana before our last case, which was January 16th. So now our free demo is over. So I was wondering if we use the same accounts of the other two teammates, will that be okay? Or would the cloud stop working with any of us or anything?
Is it possible for you to send an email to Stefania, the organizer? I think it should be okay, but we are just going to make sure. We will just make sure it's all good on our end. I think your team, the conference is supposed to have access to the cloud account for 30 days.
Okay, thank you.
Does it sound good?
I think it should work.
Okay. So so this is how you set up your deployments, and I think the one which I just set up is up to, which took a bit of a time, and I'm going to open Kibana. I just set up before the talk. Everything came up within a minute. This is why I'm not sure if I prayed to the demo gods today. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Sometimes Zoom makes it hard. All right, it's up. Okay. Okay, so you open your Kibana, and for those of you who are not familiar with Kibana, I would highly recommend to get started. When you open Kibana, there is going to be a screen which gets displayed, which will tell you add sample data or explore sample data, and we are just going to add some data so that I can go through the different analytics part of Kibana. So I'm adding a bunch of sample data here. It's called sample e-commerce orders, sample flight data, sample web logs. And what this does is it is going to ingest the data into Elasticsearch, and it is also going to create index patterns in Kibana, and it will also give us some ready-made visualizations, dashboards, and canvas and maps and graphs, which we can take a look at. So once I ingested the data, we can figure out which part of the application we want to go. I'm going to go here, and this is the layer on which we're going to be mostly focusing on Discover, dashboard, and visualization. And I'm going to start off with Discover.
Excuse me.
Yes.
We have a question.
Sure.
So from Glass Solutions, they're asking, how do you envision participants in the competition using Elasticsearch effectively over the next week?
You mean to say for ingestion of the data? I'm sure, I'm not, sorry, I don't understand the question.
If, I don't know, if Glass Solutions can ask their question. Alana?
Sorry, I was just wondering, is there a way we could put in data like over the next week and use Kibana in the competition, or is it more like for future use that you envision us using?
No. Oh, okay, that's clear now. No, you can definitely ingest data. We will go through some data ingestion methods into Kibana into your cloud account. So that's not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So the Kibana analytics. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So is it possible for you to for me to ask people to ask the questions in chat and not directly to me, to everybody, so that Marius can also answer the questions?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So the analytics data, and we are going to start with Discover first. And in Discover, what we can, you can already see this data is time series, and I have these different index patterns, which are actually connected to a set of sample data inside Elasticsearch. So I can switch between index patterns, or I can switch between data logs. I can figure out which is my favorite index pattern, and I can pick it. So I'm going to pick on sample flights data. And now this is the time picker where you can figure out for which time period you want to display the data for. So I'm going to say last 10 days. Apply. And the time picker also gives you an option for having an absolute time, relative time, and you have some quick settings here for you to add to the data. And now I can explore my fields on the left side of my screen here, and I'm going to look at destination weather. And this already gives me the analysis of the top 5 values in my database. I have cloudy, rain, clear, sunny, and heavy fog. And I can click on this to create a filter, for the data set to have destination weather as cloudy. So, and if you click on the filter here, if you pin it across all apps, the same filter will get applied to other parts of the analytics engine. You can also edit your filter. Destination weather is, right now it is cloudy, or it could be rain, or whatever value I would like. You can also create a custom label for your filter, and you can edit it as query DSL. I think we can ignore that part for now, sorry. So now if you see, I have, for destination weather cloudy, you can see the number of hits which are getting displayed, and that is 475 hits. What I would like to do now is I'm going to use this query bar to ask some questions. And the query bar uses KQL language, which is our own Kibana query language. So in here, I'm going to say destination weather, and it gives me, it's autocomplete, which is amazing. I'm going to click on cloudy, and I'm going to add a couple of more terms for my query, and I'm going to say and not cancelled is equal to true. So what happens when we run this? We are going to get 445 hits. So that is the number of the flights which did not get cancelled when the destination weather was cloudy. I can also save this search. I'm going to say cloudy but brave. And if I want to, I can actually share this search by either using a permanent link. So if you give a permanent link to somebody else, that person can access your search term, look at the data in Discover, or I can generate a CSV report. And once you generate a CSV report, you can download your report, and it comes in as a format of .csv. Okay. So that is Discover. From here, we are going to jump to dashboards and visualization. When I installed the sample data, I also got a bunch of sample dashboards which were pre-built. I'm going to click on Global Flight Dashboard. And each of this is called a dashboard panel, which is built out of a bunch of visualizations and saved searches. And this is an input control. So I'm gonna talk about that visualization. You can pick input control acts as a filter for the whole dashboard. You can pick your values, and once you click on apply changes, your whole dashboard changes to reflect those values. You can also share the dashboard as a PDF. You can also share it as a PNG report, and you can do the same things. And if you want, if you would like a bunch of the similar dashboards, you can clone the dashboard. So that's dashboard. So let's try to build a dashboard from scratch, and we are going to look at the visualizations and save searches. So when I click on editing and create new dashboard, I get dropped in here, and I have an option of either creating a panel or add from library. Creating a panel would give me visualization options to create the panels. And we have Lens is our latest, most amazing, very intuitive visualization type. We also have maps for geospatial data. We have Vega for custom visualization. Say for some purpose, none of the visualization types which exist doesn't suit you, then you can do a lot of really cool things with Vega. And we can also do it aggregation based. Aggregation based has multiple visualization types. You have area, data table, gauge, and all this based on XY axis. And then we have metric and pie and tag cloud to make things pretty. So I'm gonna click on create panel, and I'm gonna go on Lens. And once I go on Lens, I'm gonna pick my data flights. Oh, one thing I wanted to say is that when you ingest the data into Elasticsearch and you create an index pattern into Kibana, there is something called default index patterns, which you can look at in index patterns. So right now, Kibana sample data e-commerce is my default index pattern. So that is the one which is going to show up in all applications as the default option. If I want, I can switch it, and now this becomes the default index pattern. So now if I click on visualize, that's another way of getting into Lens. Let's go back to dashboard. I click on Lens. We have Kibana sample flights database. So now what do we see here? You can switch your index patterns here, and you can actually pick whichever chart type you want, which is really, really cool. And then you can see a list of the fields which exist in your data. And this is where your visualization is shown. Okay, so I'm gonna, and if you look at the time period, this is last 24 hours. I'm gonna just pick for count of records. So in the last 24 hours, my data has 354 number of documents. Do I want it as horizontal bar chart? Do I want it as stack bar? Stack bar does not make sense because I don't have another field. Do I have a data table? Data table is going to just display the timestamp and the count of records. So next, you can actually, one of the other cool things which you can do at Lens is you can click on the field here and you will be able to see the top values in the data. This one has false as 71%, true as 29%, which I think this is a really cool cool feature because a lot of the times we won't really know what is the top values or the distribution of the data. By clicking on this, and Kibana displays it so nicely that you will be able to see what is that you want. So I'm going to start with this count of records, and I'm going to pick metric, which is my most basic visualization. It just shows a number. And now I'm going to save this, and I'm going to add it to the sample dashboard. I'm going to create one more panel, and I'm going to select Lens again. And I'm going to do the records again because I want it against our count. I'm going to add a filter. I'm going to click on flight delay for my field. And is going to be true. And I'm going to make it a custom label called delayed flights. And now I have the x-axis configuration here. Which is the horizontal axis. I'm going to click on top values. And I'm going to change this from timestamp to carrier. And the display name, I'm going to change it as delays by carrier. And I'm going to save this. And I'm going to call it as delays by carrier. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to start from the top. If I click on a panel on dashboard, I can do multiple things here. I can edit lens, I can clone a panel, I can edit panel title, and you can figure out a custom time range for your panel. You can maximize your panel, replace the panel, delete from the dashboard, etc. So I'm going to clone this panel. And I'm going to click on edit lens again. And I'm going to choose vertical bar chart. And the horizontal axis always shows timestamp by default. And I'm going to toggle the customize time. I'm going to click on customize time interval. And I'm going to make it as 1 day, which means I should change this to 30 days. Otherwise, my data won't be good. And I'm going to close this. And what I'm going to do is drop flight delay type into here. And that's easy. That's it. So this is a dashboard which we just built using Lens. And that's what Lens gives for you. There is a lot more chart options which you can explore. It's very intuitive, it's easy, and it makes sense. I'm going to add a few other visualizations on top of our data. Let's pick a pie chart on the sample data flights. And I'm going to add my bucket. I'm going to split my slices, and you can pick your aggregations, and aggregations are based on Elasticsearch, and I'm going to pick on terms aggregation. And I'm going to select a field here. I'm going to say destination city name. And if I click on update, I can see that the descending value of the number of terms for the destination city name, the top 5 are here. I can increase the size of this as 10. I can also show labels, and I can update this. Okay, I'm going to save that and add that as a div. Top test. Okay, so this is my dashboard, and you can explore. And controls would be where if you want a set of filters for the whole dashboard, this is another way of adding filters. You can. I'm gonna say options list, and I'm gonna make this as fair weather. I'm going to select my index patterns. I'm going to select it as weather, destination weather. Okay, so if I click on update, save it, add to dashboard after saving, nice weather. And now if I click here, heavy fog, apply changes, the rest of the panels get updated based on the filters from this input control, and it also gets logged as a filter. Okay, so save this dashboard again, and you can store the time with the dashboard if you'd like. And you can share it, and you can generate a PNG. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. I would like to know if there are any questions before I move on to the next part. Is it clear? Is it okay? Sorry, I'm in a bit of a pain.
I guess we're good to go.
So next, what we are going to do is we are going to learn how to ingest data into Elasticsearch using a CSV visualizer. Okay, so we have something called a data visualizer, which is really cool. You click on machine learning, and then you click on data visualizer. And I'm going to import a data file here, which is a .csv file, upload file, select, and it's the data set is a census of squirrels in NYC Central Park. So we're going to see what is in the data. And it right away it analyzed the machine learning. The stack analyzed 1,000 lines, and we can see that we have the latitude and longitude information, squirrel 7 ID, the area they covered. We have date. I think this format does not look great to me. We have the age of the squirrels, which is like adult juvenile. We have primary fur color, and there are color nodes. There is a cinnamon belly, brown, grain, cinnamon. We have the location. And then we have a bunch of Boolean fields telling us what the squirrels are doing. They're running, they're chasing, they're climbing, eating, foraging. I don't know what does Cook's mean. So this is what is our data set, which is really cool. I'm going to do a few things before I ingest the data. I want to see how many number of lines there in my data. So I'm going to make this as 10,000. And timestamp format, I'm going to pick month, date, and year. And time field, I'm going to click on date. Okay, and I click on apply. It's analyzing the data. Not sure what happened there. Okay, let's ignore that error for now. All right, settings. Okay, we are gonna ignore that. So I'm gonna click on index name. So I'm trying to ingest this data into Elasticsearch. I have to, I'm giving an index name to the data, and it is also going to create an index pattern for me. I'm going to say NYC squirrels. I'm going to click on, and before I import, I would like to check for geo point location. There was the latitude. Oh, that is already geo point. So I think we are good. You see the mapping of the data here, and this data is I'm looking at the latitude and longitude, and I would like that to be geopoint location data, so that when I map it on the maps application, I can see where the squirrels are. And I'm gonna try to see if I can change the color of the date here. Change the type of the date here to date. And I'm going to click on import. All right, so it already told us the file got processed, index was created, and I got my index pattern. Now, and these are all the things I can do with this. I can view my index in Discover. I can ask questions here as we figure that out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into maps, which is our awesome geo application data. And I'm going to click on create map. And when you click on create map, the maps app displays displays a basic road layer map, and you can add different layers. I'm gonna, and these are all the different layers you can add. You can upload a GeoJSON, you can add a document, you can add lines, which is point-to-point tracks, and you can also have maps from OGC standard WMS. So you can do a bunch of things here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on documents because I just ingested my squirrel data. I'm going to click on NYC squirrels, and I can see that the NYC squirrels already showed up in New York City. And I'm going to add this layer. And if I zoom in, I can see that the data type is, all of them are in Central Park, and they can't really swim. At least the researchers, the people who survived, didn't know if it was possible to swim. So and now I got here tooltip fields. I'm going to click on adding a tooltip field. I would like to know what is the age of the squirrel. Is it climbing? Is it eating? Or is it just indifferent? So I'm going to add that as my tooltip. And if you, and when you hover over, you can see that there was an adult who was not climbing, not eating, but indifferent. And next, I'm going to do some layer style. This color, I'm going to change that by value because we have a fur color, and we're going to select primary fur color, right? And now, I mean, some of them are red, some of them are blue, some of them are green. So we are just going to do, and you can also pick a different icon. It's right now it's a marker icon. You can pick whichever icons you would like here. And we can, once we pick the primary fur color, you can change the fur color by value. You can pick a different custom palette. Now, if I save and close, that is my squirrels data from NYC census data, which is mapped in here. I'm going to save this as squirrel map. And I can click on my dashboard. And you see the dashboard which we were creating previously was there. I'm going to click on edit. And I'm going to pick add from library. I'm going to pick map because I just saved it. I'm going to do that. And that's it. So that's basically maps. You can do a lot more things with maps. This I'm going to go through a sample dashboard map. This is on flights. You can have multiple layers, and this layer is actually visible between zoom levels 9 and 24. And the results are narrowed by time filters. I can also click on editing a layer. You can add your that's the point where I can add a filter. You can add a filter. You can add a KQL filter here. Say, for example, I'm gonna say origin, city name, Squito, and you can see that filter got applied. So maps just came into being probably 7.11 like just a few releases back, and it's growing, and it's a really, really awesome app. Okay, so that's maps. We are going to switch to Canvas now. And when I have a bunch of sample Canvas work pads, and Canvas is something which you want to use if you want to make something really pretty and present it to somebody else. Basically, it's a presentation tool which works on live data. So I'm going to click on e-commerce revenue tracking workpad. And this is all built on the data set. And there is, you can share this. You can also view it in full screen. And you can edit it. You can add different elements to it. You can also add from Kibana. If you create your elements in other parts of Kibana, you can add them there. I'm gonna pick my, I'm gonna add a, close. Sorry, 1 second. Could not see my pages in Canvas. Okay, so you see you can add multiple pages. So I'm going to add another page here. I'm going to move it here. I'm going to click on add element. I'm going to add from Kibana, and I'm going to pick the visualizations which I created, which I'm nice weather. And it comes with a time filter, which you can customize your panel settings. You can also add progress elements. These are the different progress elements available. You could add an image type too. You can just upload an image if you like, and by default it is our Elastic logo. So, and that's it's a really fun tool to use. There is a couple of ways of editing Canvas elements. One is by expression editor. Sorry. So you see here, this save visualization ID is this, and my time range is from now to 15 minutes. I can change it to now to 45 minutes and run. That changes to 45 minutes. You can also you can choose different data sources again for Canvas, similar as maps. So if you click on, sorry, I missed that one. Page one, yeah. I click here on this one, data, and this is the different data sources you can choose. So I have Elasticsearch SQL, Elasticsearch documents, demo data. It always comes preset with demo data. You can use timeline. So those are all the things which you can do in Canvas. You can also display it in full screen, which makes it look really good for presentations. You can also set the, click escape. You can set the refresh element. Which means if you turn autoplay on, then the slideshow is going to just keep playing. You can also add refresh data settings, which is basically it is polling the Elasticsearch for data, and you can set a time interval. Say I'm going to set it as 30 seconds. So every 30 seconds, it's gonna poll for the new data to display it as a form of the presentation. So I think that's all I had, actually. Any questions?
Feel free to unmute yourself, guys, if you have any questions. And just a friendly reminder, this workshop is, any of the cases of this week are not going to be based on Elastic. This workshop was just intended to give you an extra tool in order to solve any of the cases for this week. If you choose to use it, it's really up to you.
Is there any way we can help you? Do you want to learn about more data ingestion techniques or any other part of Kibana which you want me to go through? Basically, we went through the analytics part of Kibana, except for the graph, which is, yeah, I'm going to just share quickly. 1 second, sorry. Graph basically gives you connections to data. And when we installed sample data sets, we also got sample graphs. So you define your vertices and you give your query. This is a graph which is built out of carrier, destination, and destination weather. And that is giving me the connections between different vertices. I think Visualize is basically just a visualization library. You can also create your visualizations here and then add them to dashboard. Maybe a couple of more things might be useful. If you notice, I'm in default space here. If you want multiple people to work on different spaces so that they are not in each other's way, you can click on spaces. You can create a space. I'm going to say space. 1 second. Share. Space A. Describe something. And if you don't want to look at the rest of the Kibana, you can just uncheck that. And you create your space. And you can go into your space and you have a new space for you to play with and work on. Reports, you can access the reports here. It's under alerts and insights. I created a bunch of reports. So this was a PNG report of the dashboard, which I created, which I can access here. Index patterns, you can see that the sample data, okay. Why is there is no index patterns here? I didn't create my index patterns in this space. I created them in default index space. But when you ingest the data, data is actually in Elasticsearch. So you can create your sample data index patterns here. So I'm going to say I'm going to create NYC squirrels. And you notice if I just give star here, it's still going to refer to NYC squirrels. This is how you can work on a bunch of time series data, Twitter. So you have tweets from today, tweets from yesterday, tweets from day before yesterday. Then you do Twitter tweets -star. Then that is going to refer to all the data sets which are in your Elasticsearch. Click on next step. I'm going to create a date, create index pattern. Now, if I go to discover on this index pattern, there is no results which match the search criteria because, and this is something which used to take us for a doozy when we just start using it. We would be like, why is my data not being shown? And it would be because our time picker was not set. I'm going to click on no. Okay, let's say. Nope. What happened? Default. Oh, the time field did not get ingested. Oh, that was the error which was being shown. Anyways, you get my point. So that is some of the things which you can do. One more thing which I wanted to show us, click on index patterns. Once you click on sample data, you can actually edit the format of your field. Right now, I'm not going to do it on GeoPoint. There is no point in doing it on GeoPoint. I'm going to do it on a string. Right now it is string. I can make it a string, and I can actually transform it into different cases which I want, and you have examples. So I can do it as uppercase, and I can save this field. And you will have that field in uppercase in your Kibana. Any other questions? Ways of ingesting data into Elasticsearch. There's something which I wanted to show. Once you do the sorry, stop share. You can ingest. There is like, we found out that we can ingest the data using CSV uploader. You can also ingest your data using your dev tools. This is how you will do it. Click on dev tools, and you can add your data. Last. This is a really simple document which I'm uploading. If I don't give a ID, sorry, the number, the Elasticsearch will generate the number for me, and I can do it here. So if you have a bunch of JSON documents, you can ingest them here. You can also use curl API to ingest the data using command line. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of examples into the presentation and send that across instead of me typing it. Would that help for teams to get the data in?
I think we're good.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions? If not, I think we can end the workshop here.
You can email me or get in touch with Stephanie. Okay. I had to finish sharing my slides. 1 second. It's the most important slide for you to get help. So we saw that we could explore data. We can build visualizations to explain data, and ES is used for all that. Learning resources. So there is really great videos, way awesomer than what I did. Apologies, I'm not feeling well. You can go watch those videos. And also we have a discuss forum called for Kibana. We have discuss forums for pretty much all the products. Somebody goes in and answers questions every day, so you can ask your questions. And this is our community channel where there are great videos, tutorials. So hopefully that should help.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay, guys, if you can just leave the call.
Thank you.
You need to start getting prepared to solve your case.
All right, thanks, Jeff.